Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Lunch with the League. Excuse me, today on this sunny November day. Before we start, I'm Pam Whitcliffe from the League of Women Voters, and we have a little blip that we need to say at the beginning, that we want to say at the beginning of each hour that we meet. We never support or oppose any political party or candidate. We are nonpartisan. We encourage informed and active participation in government, but we never support or oppose any particular party or candidate. We do have unbiased information about elections, the voting process, and issues. And though we are, nonpartisan after a study, we will use our positions to advocate for or against particular policies in public interest. Consequently, any comments or opinions you hear from folks today who speak are not necessarily those of the League. We'll be here from noon until 1. And the general format, and I don't know, Marijo, if I told you this or not, is for you to speak for a half hour and then have a half hour of Q&A. Does that sound okay with you?
Yeah, I'll try and stretch that out. But I'm happy to stay on, and if people have questions, comments, concerns, I already had somebody call with some concerns today to me, so
oh dear.
I got broad shoulders, so it's all good.
Well, people generally have a lot of really good questions. So when you finish your little talk, we will do our little Q&A.
Absolutely.
If everybody would remain muted during the talk and during the comments and questions, please put your comments or questions in the chat. And then I will either read them to Marijo or she can read them herself. As she wishes, whichever way you prefer doing it, Marijo.
Thank you.
So you just have to let me know whether you want me to do it or you. If you want more information about the League of Women Voters and their positions, you can go to lwvsouthbend.org. And when you get to that webpage, it not only will have information about our local league, but also about the state and their positions, as well as national and their positions. And so it does have a lot of information about upcoming events. And we do have a few events that I need to mention before we get started, or as we get started. The League's holiday party is Thursday, December 7th. From 5 to 7 p.m. at Tippecanoe Place at 620 West Washington Street in South Bend. We will be presenting our annual Making Democracy Work Award to, to Charlotte Pfeiffer Gillum. And we will continue our tradition of assisting a nonprofit organization with optional donations of funds or items that are needed. And if you have an idea for an organization, they need to know today. Today is the deadline for an organization that you might feel would be good for us to assist. And you can call or email Kathy Platt or Marty Henline. Heline. And we need RSVPs for going to the party by December the 4th to Kathy or Marty. Another one is a deadline for decline of social news. They had a decline of social news, which was about getting our South Bend Tribune back in paper again. And they had a summit to save the local paper last week. And it said that,
here we go.
What? Oh, and information, you can find information on the South Bend Tribune's Facebook page. what the Constitution means to me, the play that has been at Notre Dame, it has been at the Civic Theater, and now it is South Bend IUSB. And it was last night, it's tonight and tomorrow night at 7:30 and November the 12th at 2:00 at the Upstage Theater in the North Side Hall. It's free, not ticketed. And then there are speakers that will be talking after the play is over, and it's an excellent play. It's just wonderful. And given all that, I would like to introduce our speaker. Someone isn't muted. Karen. If everybody could mute, make sure they're muted, that would be good. Anyway, our speaker today is Marijo Martinec. She is the Executive Director and CEO of the Food Bank of Northern Indiana. She provides vision and leadership to ensure the food bank's programs and resources reach as many hungry neighbors as possible throughout Northern Indiana. She joined the food bank in 2010 and has held various positions in the organization, including marketing and events coordinator, director of community impact, and associate executive director. Until in September 2018, she became the executive director. Prior to food banking, she worked in tourism for South Bend, Mishawaka Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Studebaker National Museum. Marijo earned a bachelor's degree in television and radio communications from Indiana University, Bloomington, and a master's for nonprofit administration from the University of Notre Dame. And today she's going to tell us 10 things you need to know about the Food Bank of Northern Indiana. Marijo, thank you for coming, and it's
all mine.
It's all yours.
Yes. Thank you all for the opportunity to talk with you today about the food bank, especially at this time of year, because we're getting into that season where lots of holidays and activities are focused around food. I am going to start with a brief email that I recently received from somebody, and it has to do with what hunger looks like here in our community. Dear Mary Jo and food bank staff and partners, I had to take an unexpected 2-month medical leave earlier this year. I am single and have no additional savings or money for food. I used the food bank in your pantry and went to mobile food distributions for the first time. God bless you and thank you for all you do. You put food on my table when I needed it most. We love to get notes like this from people, and to know that the work that we do is having an impact on all of them. And we've seen lots of letters and cards and notes come in really over the past 3 years as the way the food bank has done business has changed. Just gonna make sure you know what our mission is and our vision. So the food bank, we work in partnership with our communities to feed the hungry, increase awareness of the effects of hunger, and lead programs designed to alleviate hunger. Earlier this year, back in the spring, we completed a new 3-year strategic plan and came up with the vision for our organization that we aspire to create communities where all hungry neighbors have access to healthy and nutritious food. The healthy and nutritious is something that we've done for a while, but we really have begun, I would say over the past 5 years to ensure that if we want to have a healthier community, a healthier residents, that we, the food bank, we have an obligation to provide those healthier food items. So I tell our team all the time that especially when it comes to produce and other perishable items, fresh is best. So we like to provide fresh produce, fruits and vegetables for our neighbors to consume. Then we go to frozen because we know that frozen's not as good as fresh, but it's great. And then canned, and especially low sodium and low sugar. We also always ask when we get canned items that we have pop top lids because we do serve the homeless populations in our community. And also it's not just homeless people, but there's a lot of people who don't have a can opener. And a year ago on Memorial Day weekend, I was trying to open up some baked beans to prepare, and my can opener broke. And I didn't have the resources to open up that can at all. So like to provide the best that we can for people. Food bank service area. Food bank serves 6 counties in northern Indiana. We serve Elkhart, Kosciuszko, LaPorte, Marshall, Stark, and St. Joseph County. We are hubbed here out of South Bend. We're off of Chapin Street in the old Kosegi leather goods building. But we do have a presence, and we do regularly serve all 6 counties that we are in. There are 76,400 people, residents in our 6 county service area who are food insecure. And that includes nearly 23,000 children in this area. We work with a network of 114 partner agencies. These are soup kitchens, food pantries, shelters, daycare facilities. They are the boots on the ground, so to speak, and are directly serving those neighbors who need that food assistance. And we have a staff of 24 people, 12 full-time and 12 part-time individuals who make this organization work. What is food insecurity? The USDA defines food insecurity as a lack of access at times to enough food for people to maintain a healthy lifestyle. As I mentioned, our food numbers are 76,400 adults. I've been at the food bank for 13 years, some years higher, some years lower. This data that I am sharing with you is through Feeding America. It was released this spring, but it is for year 2021. So it runs a little bit behind. Food insecurity exists in every county and congressional district in the United States. What causes food insecurity? The root causes are poverty, unemployment, low income, lack of affordable housing, chronic health issues, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and lack of adequate health care, and systemic racism and racial discrimination. There are differences. What is the difference between a food bank and a food pantry? Our food bank is a little unique because we do have a pantry on site here at the Food Bank of Northern Indiana. So a food bank, I have different bullet points here, but it's a giant warehouse of food. And we work with a variety of partners. We work with growers, retailers, and reclamation for food to come in, and then we redistribute it through our network. Food pantry, as I mentioned, those are boots on the ground. The people, those organizations that are directly serving people who are in need. Oftentimes they're connected with a faith-based organization, a school, or a community organization. And many partners work with food banks to get that food. Our food bank, we do not charge our partners for our donated product, but we do charge them for any purchase product that they want to make. Our agencies sign a contract with us every 2 years, an agreement of how they are going to operate. And we do monitor with them every 2 years to ensure that the food that they are distributing to the neighbors, the end user, actually is safe for them to consume. How many pounds does a food bank distribute? Last year, we distributed 8.9 million pounds of food, and that's the equivalent of up to nearly 7 million meals. Through October of this year, the food bank has distributed 7.7 million pounds of food, and that's over 6 million meals. The largest distribution that we had in our organization's history was 2020, during the height of the pandemic, when we distributed almost 13 million pounds of food. Tongue in cheek, internally here, we sometimes look at that as the good old days of food banking, when we had so much food and so many resources that were available to us, that we were able to help people who needed food. And I apologize, I just got ahead of myself here. So let me go back there. I often get lots of questions about how we're funded, and sometimes get calls, especially when a campaign appeal goes out, asking me all kinds of questions. So we are a 501c3 charity. We are funded through donations, sponsorships, grant funding, so corporate family foundations, and the federal government for administering 2 federal programs, TFAP and CSFP. We also are part of the Feeding America Network, which is the nation's largest hunger charity. And we do receive grant funding from Feeding America as well, and other resources that we are afforded because of that membership partnership. 95 cents of every $1 donated to the food banks goes into its programs. A $1 donation provides up to the equivalent of up to 5 meals or 8 pounds of food. We are very transparent with our organization. Our 990 is posted on our website, and it is on the homepage of our website, feedindiana.org. As I mentioned, we are part of Feeding America, and we are one of 11 Feeding America food banks that are located in Indiana. Beginning in December, we will mark the 30th anniversary of our organization's first distribution of 6,800 pounds of food to 29 agencies. We were founded, excuse me, by United Religious Community of St. Joseph County to address hunger here in northern Indiana. During our first few years of operations, we were a subsidiary organization of Gleaners Food Bank of Indianapolis. Gleaners is the largest food bank here in the state. After those first few years, we got better at the work that we do, that we were doing, and we became our own food bank and no longer were a subsidiary. In the year 2000, we moved here to our current site, an 82,000 square foot facility warehouse here on Chapin Street in downtown South Bend. One thing that we must do and that we're really proud of is that every 2 years, we go through audits. We go through an audit through Feeding America to make sure we're doing things correctly. We do sign an agreement with Feeding America to be part of its network. And we must go through a food safety audit every 2 years through the American Baking Institute to ensure, once again, that what we provide to our neighbors who are going hungry, it's really safe for them to consume. We actually, we're getting ready as we speak. Our AIB audit, our food safety audit is coming up in 15 days. It's coming up on December 5th. So looking forward to having that completed and seeing what else is out there. Oh, I did do that. I'm so sorry. Okay, what are some of the programs that the food bank operates? So we have a Food for Kids backpack program. It's a weekend food assistance program for children in Elkhart, LaPorte, Marshall, Stark, and St. Joseph counties. It takes place during the school year. Primarily, it is non-perishable food items at this time, but we're trying to figure out a way how we can incorporate perishable foods for these kids to consume. We work with schools, and Food Bank does not determine who is in the program. We leave that up to the teachers, social workers, principals in the schools. Also, we typically try to, if there is one child in the family that needs the backpack, we try to ensure that all the children from a family receive that food as well. This program, it's an investment of $150. So it's for the school year. And that's the cost of one Starbucks per week. So it's a great way to use your money. We also have the Community Food Pantry of St. Joseph County. That's the pantry that's located here on site here at the food bank. And it's open 3 days a week, Monday and Friday from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. and Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., 22 hours a week. We began last year staying open later because many of the people that we serve work during the day. So we've seen increased traffic between that 4 to 6 p.m. over the past year and a half. There is a misconception about food pantries. People can only shop there once every 30 days. Those who utilize food pantries have to be very resourceful. And there are challenges for people who go to food pantries, especially if you work or if you have transportation barriers. We are on a bus line here off of Chapin Street, which is very helpful. We made a decision. Well, we didn't make it. It was forced upon us. In March of 2020, at the beginning of the pandemic, we couldn't shut down. We had to stay open. So we made a decision to do drive-through distributions. And it was very successful, very efficient. And we asked questions of some of the people that we serve, you know, do you like this? What do you like about driving through? They love that it's pretty efficient. So when our pantry was located indoors, people would wait oftentimes 3+ hours to shop. So imagine having to go to the grocery store and getting there an hour and a half early because you wanted to get your spot in line. They also loved remaining anonymous. So they stay in their vehicles, and we have amazing volunteers who serve as personal shoppers. This pantry is a client choice pantry in that we provide the client's choice. So we don't just pack up a box of food and say, here you go. We give them some dignity in making selections on what best meets their needs based on what we have available. Last year in 2022, we began doing DoorDash home deliveries. So for people who may have transportation challenges in our community, they can utilize this service, and it will be their shopping trip here at the community food pantry for that month. One of the challenges of this program with our compliance with Feeding America is that we are only able to provide non-perishable food items. So if someone does have those transportation challenges, we always ask if there's someone who can bring them to the pantry or who can serve as a proxy and shop on their behalf so that they can get the perishable as well as non-perishable food items. We do a senior nutrition program serving low-income seniors that reside in Elkhart, Kosciuszko, LaPorte, Marshall, Stark, and St. Joseph counties. It's a monthly distribution of dry goods and perishable items. We primarily work with these individuals who live in low-income housing areas in that population. We distribute TFAP food, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, government commodities. 60 agencies out of our 114 members in our network distribute these government commodities. And there's a lot more accountability for these agencies. It's a government program, so there's more paperwork that is involved with it, but provides a variety of really great food for people who are in need. Commodity Supplemental Food Program. It is a program for low-income seniors ages 60 and over, and we administer this program in 15 sites in Elkhart, LaPorte, Marshall, and St. Joseph counties. There are some challenges with this program. You must meet the income requirements, and unfortunately, some people just go over those income requirements, and you must be consecutive in receiving. So if you miss out, let's say you're ill and you can't come and get your box in your housing complex for 2 months. On that third month, if you aren't there, you are booted out of the program and you must reapply for that program as well. We also began doing a very robust mobile food distribution program. Actually, in 2020, we've done the program for years, but in the height of the pandemic, we were in every county every week distributing food. And the beautiful thing about mobile food pantries is that it's bonus food for our neighbors who need that food, perishable, non-perishable food, and it doesn't count against any visit to a food pantry. As I mentioned earlier, most food pantries only allow someone to shop there once every 30 days. So again, these neighbors who are food insecure have to be very resourceful, and it is a lot of work to get that food because you have to go to multiple food pantries. You also, depending upon the pantry, you may only be able to get dry goods. They may not be able to give you any frozen product or perishable product. And sometimes people are trying to cobble together what they receive to make that into meals. We are very mindful and have been for the past couple of years about providing universally, culturally appropriate food items. So out of all the cultures, here's like 10 items that most people will cook with. We also like to provide things like, instead of a can of pinto beans or black beans, we like to provide a bag of dried beans, because you can make multiple meals out of dry beans, but that canned bean, you're going to get one meal out of it. We also like to provide recipes to people to try and use in making meals. Another one of our programs not listed here is our direct agency pickup program. So through our partnership with Feeding America, we work with many big box retailers. And then we have our own partnerships as well, where we food bank or our agency partners go to various stores in the community and pick up reclamation product. It's perfectly edible food, may not be moving really well, or it's nearing its expiration date and they need to clean out their shelves and coolers. So our agencies or food bank, we pick up that food and then we are able to redistribute that food as well. We also have a food sourcer who goes out and meets with farmers and growers and retail partners as well to get that additional food here into the food bank, and then we redistribute it through our network. So as I mentioned, we administer a couple of government programs, and the federal programs are TFAP, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and CSFP, Commodity Supplemental Food Program. These programs in Indiana are administered through the Indiana Department of Health, and we have a contract with them. We are reimbursed for that, the administrative costs in facilitating these programs in our service area. We also provide people with initial sign up for SNAP, which is a supplemental nutrition program. It was formerly called at one time food stamps. Really try to encourage those neighbors that need these services to apply for them. It's a two-step process. We are only able to get them through step number one, but have volunteers who try to help them and encourage them to follow through and apply for those benefits, because even a small amount, $50 a month, will really help them stretch their budget. Something that we're into right now, which has been in the news, is that Farm Bill, which is at the heart of food security in America, and Food Bank of Northern Indiana. It's up for reauthorization. Farm Bill's reauthorized once every 5 years. And it expired on September 30th, 2023. There was an extension that was made. Unfortunately, it is set to expire again on November 18th. So these programs are very, very important to the work that farmers do and food banks do as well. The funding is really crucial, as I mentioned, to food banks and feeding organizations across the country. So we are working diligently and contacting our legislators to get that Farm Bill passed. I have worked at the food bank. The last time the government shut down was in 2019. And I believe it was for about 30 days. So hopeful. I would hate for us to head into the holiday season with the government shut down. And the programs, we're told, will continue, but they will sunset until a new farm bill is passed. So ways that you all can engage with the food bank: donate, volunteer, advocate, and educate about the work that we do. You know, regarding donating, donate your time, volunteer at our food bank. You can volunteer at a food pantry, and we encourage, we support our agency partners, and we encourage that if they live in Elkhart County, it would be best to help in Elkhart County. Advocate for feeding programs and ways that we can lift people out of food insecurity into food insecurity as well. And I'm done talking for right now.
Okay, well, we have a bunch of questions. Do you want me to read them to you and let you answer them?
If that would work, that works for me.
Okay, the first question: does the food bank need volunteers just for the holiday season?
We need volunteers for the holiday season and all year long. So we need about 30 volunteers every day that we're open to be a well-oiled machine. Our mobile distributions, as I mentioned earlier, we wrapped up a very successful fundraising campaign called Turkeys on the Table, and we're distributing turkeys in 29 locations in our 6 counties. We actually started on Wednesday, and we're going to wrap up on Monday the 20th. So yes, we need volunteers. We have a variety of opportunities. Some people like to work directly with the people that we serve, so we place them in our pantry, and others like to work more behind the scenes, so we offer standing and sitting jobs for people to help.
Okay, the next question is: to what extent do you and Cultivate Food Rescue collaborate?
Cultivate is not an agency partner of ours, but we all work together in the food rescue space. So they do great things that we don't have the capacity to do. They repackage meals. So about I think it was, oh gosh, 9 years ago, we looked at repackaging food as an organization, but what we would have to do from the Feeding America standpoint of doing that would mean that we would have to build a separate facility to do that. So we feel that we do what we do pretty well, and they
Okay.
do what they do very well.
Okay. Next question. Are eggs included in donations? Can eggs be given?
Yes, we do work with we do get the eggs donated to us. We get chicken and duck eggs. And we like to be able to provide that to our hungry neighbors because that's a very versatile source of protein for people.
Okay. And what other kinds of fresh foods can be included in donations that aren't going to be, like a head of lettuce isn't going to last long, but
Right, right. I mean, I would guess if people wanted to donate anything fresh, I mean, we'll get people who will drop off a frozen turkey between now and Christmas, or, people can just call our office. We get a lot of produce, fresh produce, especially from growers, that will drop that off. But we accept pretty much everything, including pet food and personal hygiene items and cleaning products as well. So we do have people that use our pantry that have hungry pets. And when we have that food available, or if we have an abundance of food available, we share that with our agency partners as well.
Okay. And then Beth North mentions, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, other people can read it. St. Michael and All Angels Episcopal Church is grateful for collaborating with the food bank.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
Distribution.
They are longtime partners of ours, and we appreciate the work that they do.
And then the next question, is it more effective to donate to food bank or to our own church pantries?
I always say you do whatever you feel best about doing. I know that many of our partner agencies, they are run on the generosity of their congregation. So if that's where your heart is, I go for it.
Okay. Next question. Has the trend to require see-through backpacks impeded your backpack program at all?
Not at all.
Okay. Do Head Start kids get weekend backpacks?
We do not work with the Head Start program, but that prompts me to think, I wonder how we could work with them.
Will you take that down as a note on your side?
I am.
Notes on our side. Okay, good. It was a good question. I think that was Beth. Yeah. And she asked this one too. Do you serve students and families in the Goodwill XL Center?
We do have a relationship with them. And because today we're observing Veterans Day, we do work with Goodwill on their veterans stand down. So that is a community that has been underserved, the veteran population. So again, another group of people, especially with those having maybe housing challenges, et cetera, trying to provide the right types of food, that if someone is very transient, that they're able to eat. So a little bit more prepared, but we do try to provide some fresh in that as well.
Okay. Does the food bank track progress among the families it serves? In other words, are you able to graduate people or families from being food insecure to achieving sustainable food security due to rising and above or solving the causation factors that lead to their insecurity?
Sure. So, because we, our on-site pantry, administers TFAP, the program, there is limited information that we can ask. We do see some people, who, have come, to our pantry, for a long time, and others who are more situational. So we do have people, you know, they may need a little bit of help every once in a while. We have a gentleman who volunteers for us occasionally, because he feels he needs to volunteer, because occasionally he has to shop at our pantry. So just depends upon the situation. I would say in the past 3 years, we are seeing more new families who are coming into the charitable food system, more individuals, new ones. And sometimes they really need to stay in this for a while. They really need that help.
Okay. Those of us who pay our taxes, that don't seek all the available loopholes to avoid paying our fair share, the government, whether it's local, state, is, I think this is a statement. Those of us who pay our taxes, who don't seek available loopholes to avoid paying our fair share, the government, whether it's local or federal, is us. That's the statement, I guess. Okay, here's a question. It's not a question. Thanks for the great things that you do, an amazing reach and so needed.
Oh,
Carl said, can unaccompanied minors shop at the food pantry or local food bank or local pantries?
you know, we do have people, younger people who are living. We set a limit of age 16, but if you know me, as my staff does, that you never want me to be up front or that very last person if the doors are closed. We're going to give somebody, sometimes it may be the best we can do is an emergency box. And in that emergency box, there's going to be a loaf of bread, there's going to be peanut butter and some other items for them to help them out for a few days.
Okay. And let me look and see. I think we're at the end. Does anyone else have any questions that they'd like to unmute and ask?
Pam,
Yes.
I just want to say that Mary Jo is an awesome individual, and I know, because I know her daughter too, who's a fellow Rotarian and who works for Real Services and is a graduate of Holy Cross College. And I'm very thankful that you are in our community and doing this work. Thank you.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you, Beth. It really is a privilege to do this work.
I have a question. If folks wanted to come and take a tour, I remember on our donation last time, I think you wrote something. If you want to take a tour of the food bank, you're welcome. And I never have done that, but that might be an interesting, fun thing to do. Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. My information is on the screen, call or email. I would be proud and happy to show you around about. I think most people, a couple of things you'll probably think like, wow, I thought it would be dirtier in there. And I didn't realize it was as big. It's 82,000 square feet. We have 2 floors. I wouldn't take you on the second floor, but I think people would be surprised about what's coming in and going out.
I have another suggestion, kind of a brainstorm thing. Our league holiday party is December 7th at Tippecanoe Place, which isn't all that far from the food bank. Maybe we could arrange a tour for any interested. And then those who are going to both the tour and Tippecanoe Place for the holiday party could kind of, combine the two. Just an idea.
Okay, we can talk about that.
I have a question that just kind of popped into my brain. I know you said that you collaborate with a lot of other organizations and like church pantries and so forth. I volunteer at St. Margaret's House, and I wonder if you probably work with them, groups like that. How do you connect, or how do they connect with you to get?
So St.
services
Margaret's
like that?
House is a pantry of ours, a pantry partner. We have a lot of organizations that will connect with us because they want to work with us in the food space and with the food that they are providing to hungry neighbors. So there is a process that we go through that they fill out an application. And then our agency relations director will go on a tour. We want to make sure that the food that we are providing, and again, for the end user, is as safe as possible. So, for example, we've gone on tours and somebody wants to store food in the same area where pesticides are stored, and that has happened, or so we just need to ensure that that it's a good relationship, and really it's all about it in the end is having serving those who need it and being in those areas where people need the help.
So what I hear you saying is that the agency reaches out to you. Do you ever reach out to other agencies too? Does it go both ways?
Yep, absolutely, because we know that we want to make sure that we're serving diverse populations in the community, and then having them with resources, because we know there's a lot of food deserts in a lot of our communities. So we even try with our mobile distributions to get out in those areas where that people who don't have a vehicle but need food can get there. So we're much more, I would say, than we were 10 years ago, mindful of all of that. And there's lots of different pieces to those puzzles.
Okay.
This may be very elementary, and everybody might know the answer but me. But when folks make a donation, they don't bring you food, but they make a donation. Do you have folks there that go out and buy the food then?
We have somebody, so we work with food brokers. And so, yes, we do have, so we're always looking, certain agencies ask for certain items, and we try as best as we can, to provide that, and also to provide that as cost effective as possible. So we don't upcharge for anything that is purchased. We don't do that, and nor do we charge any of our agencies for the donated product that we receive.
I have one other question for you, Mary Jo. It just occurred to me when everybody else was talking, do you ever offer paid internships for high school students and college students on their breaks?
We have, yes. We typically work through a program through the state of Indiana that they will match. So then we are able to provide a little bit more attractive salary, hourly wage for people. Yeah. In fact, I'm actually thinking about interns for the spring and next summer to help with some projects.
Okay. Well, Mary Jo, this has been wonderful. You have been very, it's been very insightful. And we thank you very much for your time and for all of your knowledge, and you're going to make Thanksgiving a wonderful thing for lots of people.
Well, thank you. We just need to, keep your fingers crossed for good weather through actually through the 22nd. So our busiest pantry day will be Wednesday, November 22nd. So, but we like this time of year. It's crazy and exhausting, but, it's all about the food at that time.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you so very much. And thank you everyone for coming. And remember, December is our off month. We don't have lunch with the league in December, but we'll be back in January. So thank you all for coming. Now go out in this chilly but beautiful sunshiny day.
And I hope I will see you all at the holiday party on December 7th. Be sure and RSVP to Kathy Platter, Marty Helene.
Yep. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.